Awesome. So yeah, I just have a list of interview questions for you. And then we should be all good.
All right, just tell me one more time. Where this is you're in college
I am in college. I go to
and,
Longwood University. It's
and
in
you're making
Virginia.
and you're making a conspiracy video and your topic is flat Earth.
Yes.
All right, awesome.
Awesome. Thank you. So just to start, what do you believe the Earth looks like?
Well, I can't get a full view of the Earth because we just don't have access. But if we go up to a balloon as high as we can go, 120,000 feet, it looks like that. It looks white, right? When you're up
Yeah.
100, 120,000 feet, there's so much atmosphere, you can't really see the Earth. Unlike NASA shows us these vivid color pictures that are absolutely ridiculous. So I think the Earth is like a pond.
Hmm.
And the shoreline of the pond contains our water. The shoreline of a pond has to be higher than the water to contain it, right? Because if it was lower, you'd have a waterfall, right? The water would go away. So the shoreline of our world is Antarctica. Antarctica is the highest land on Earth. Um, Let me just show you what that looks like real quick. So this is just a little illustration. So here's our world. You got South America, America, right? Africa, Australia. And this is the shoreline of our world. Antarctica is the highest land on Earth. It contains our water. So that's kind of what it looks like. Question is, what's out here? What's out there? What's out here in the outer space?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It definitely leaves you to question what more is there. So jumping back to the past a little bit, when did you start believing that this that you have up is what the Earth looked like?
Well, it's not about believing. I believed we live a we were on a spinning ball flying through flying through outer space, and that's because that's what I was told before when I was before we could even talk. Your parents probably put a mobile of the planets over your crib, and then Sesame Street has astronauts on there, and all of this stuff. So we're taught before we have discernment, before we have the ability to think that we live on a globe, and in all of our movies, all of our cartoons, everything is all about space. And so that's just the foundation, the building blocks of our lives when we're trusting little babies and children. Um, and so I believed my whole life that we lived on a spinning ball, but belief is the lazy man's knowing, right? I live in Connecticut. Where do I live?
Mhm. North of me.
No, no. Well, where do I live? What state? Connecticut.
Connecticut.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you believe it or do you know it?
I believe it because you told me that.
Right. So we're trusting people. We have to believe because if we had to verify everything, we'd never get anything done ever. Right. Like, hey, the store is up to the left. Oh, is it? Let me go verify that. Whatever. You have to verify everything. No, we have to believe. But belief is easy. It takes no effort. You're done. I said it. You believe it. You're done. But if you really wanted to
Mhm.
verify it, it might take you a couple hours. You might have to go on Facebook, find my friends, find my high school, see my yearbook, see some recent pictures I took, and you spend a couple hours. All right, now you know it. Knowing is different. So when you ask when did I believe the earth was flat, I don't believe the earth is flat. I know it's a level non-rotating plane from all of the work I've done. And that started in about 2015. And
Okay.
when I first went into it, again, all flat earthers have the same story. We laughed at it. We refused to look at anything. We ridiculed the people that told us about it. And then finally we looked. And we usually didn't go in with an open mind. We usually went in to debunk it. We're like, oh, we're just going to prove this flat earth done. Stupid, prove the globe, and we'll be done with this. And that's how you end up a flat earther or a level horizontal non-rotating earther.
What can you explain the original evidence and reasoning that made you know that the Earth is flat?
Well, I would say we all start out as realizing that the globe is scientifically impossible. The one that got me was that we can see too far. And I live on the water my whole life in the same town, pretty much. And the idea of seeing ships go over the horizon, and and then you could take today's modern optics and zoom them back in. And I was like, wait a minute, I can do this. So I went out and at the time Nikon had come out with the P900 super zoom camera, and I went out and I zoomed in on a buoy that should have been over 60 feet below the curve, and I could see it. So there's no horizon here. There's no boats on the horizon, right? There's no boats. As I'm zooming in, I'm making that bigger and bigger and bigger. And all of a sudden you go, oh, look, there is a boat there. So here's a boat that looked like it wasn't there, zoomed in on it, and it's there. And so if my finger can't hide that boat, but if my finger was a wave and it was closer, as that boat gets smaller, it could hide the whole boat. Where'd the boat go?
Mhm.
Is it over the curve or is it just out of your visual range? It's beyond your horizontal eye zone.
All right, so we stopped at, can you explain the evidence or reasoning that convinced you of believing this way?
Yeah, there's very, very simple evidence. A ball is required to have a physical horizon at a certain distance based on your viewing altitude. Right now, the ball is hiding my mouth. You can't see it. And you can't zoom in on it because it's behind a physical curve. So the math on the ball that they tell us the Earth is 24,901 miles around says that at just 3 miles there's a 6 foot drop. That means a 6 foot tall person sitting at the edge of perfectly calm water. That water should be curving away, and at 3 miles there's a 6 foot drop. That means that there's a physical horizon that that person can't see over. They shouldn't be able to see the surface of the water, and or as it goes farther away, it goes more. At 10 miles, there's 66 feet of curvature. That's a 6 story building. You can hide a 6 story
Mhm.
building behind there. But the problem is we can see too far. And there's many real world examples. I showed you the boats. That's a terrestrial viewer looking at a terrestrial object. Another one would be this one here. This is a mountain. This mountain is 169 miles away. The top of that mountain
Mhm.
should be well like a mile below the curve from this altitude. I'm not sure what this one was, but there's another one here. This one here. This was a picture that was taken actually recently. There's a whole video on it. And from this viewing height, the tips of these mountains here, there's 8 of them. The tops of those mountains should be over 40 miles below a physical curve, but they're all there. They all line up right on a horizon. Why is that? Right? Does that mean the Earth is flat? Nope. It means the Earth is either flat or 1,000 times bigger than they tell us. If it's 1,000 times bigger, maybe there's 1,000 other continents that we don't know about where freedom can reign, right? Resources. What are all wars about? Power, resources, land, right? What if
Mhm.
they're hiding more land? So when you start looking at these things, the rabbit hole just gets deeper and deeper and deeper. The question is, why can't we see some things that should be there? Here's a spot from Aluja, France. 175 miles out here is a mountain called Mount Canigou, and you can't see it. Why can't you see it? Well, the light that's bouncing off of it isn't strong enough to push 175 miles away. But twice a year, as the sun migrates in between the tropics, it's lined up with the viewer and the mountain. And as it goes into the distance, it backlights the mountain. And all of a
Mhm.
sudden, you can see the whole mountain. The very top of the mountain here should be over a half a mile below the curve from this viewing spot. But twice a year, you can see it. Right. And the globe argument
Mhm.
is well, the sun is already set below the curve, and the mountain's already below the curve, and the sun is refracting up, and the mountain's refracting up to block the refracted sunlight. The reason your brain can't figure that out isn't because you're stupid, it's because it's stupid. The definition is stupid. And that's how they get you. They explain stuff with confidence, with math that nobody understands. And even if you do understand it, it doesn't matter. Math is not reality. I can do math that will make my table, my flat table, spherical. I can look at the shadows, I can measure them, I can do the math. And just like Eratosthenes did, I can make my table, I can say it's a sphere.
Mhm.
So those two things. And then the other one is high pressure next to low pressure. Can't have it without a physical container. If you had a box and you sucked all the air out of it, so you have a no pressure vacuum box, and there's a valve on it, and you opened it anywhere, upside down, high altitude, low altitude, it's going to violently fill with air. The air is going to equalize instantly. Well, we live on a lumpy rock surrounded by curved water that no one's ever seen the curve, surrounded by high pressure air, adjacent to avoid a vacuum of no pressure. Why doesn't the air just fill the available space? And the only answer they give you is gravity. Gravity holds down the air, right? How can gravity hold
Mhm.
down the air? Like if I had a shoebox and I sucked all the air out of my room, gravity should hold the air that's in the box. No, it's all going to go. Air, gases fill the available space violently. So when you start looking into these things and seeing the lies and thinking about it logically and using your God-given common sense, um, imagine if you were here, planted here, and you knew nothing. No one ever told you anything. You're just the first person on Earth, right? What do your senses tell you? Are you spinning at 1,000 miles an hour? Are you orbiting at 66,000 miles an hour? Is the Earth when you're flying in an airplane? Are you diving down at a mile per minute? Right? If you
Mhm.
if you look at the solar system, right? They want you to believe they teach us that all the planets they go around the sun, but they in their model, the globe model, the sun is moving at a 500,000 miles an hour. So it's all chasing the sun. We're traveling 4.4 billion miles a year. It's a huge number. Never to return to where we
Mhm.
were before. And somehow everything remains in perfect timekeeping order, perfectly, right? None of the stars ever change. They're always the same. Go out tonight, take a picture of the stars, put a note in your calendar to do the same thing next year or in 10 years, and every star will be in the same place, even though we've gone trillions of miles. And all of the stars have moved in their own ways. Good.
Can I ask you a follow-up question on that? So how would you define, because you're pointing out those stars, and it actually points back to one of my other questions from that I'll ask later. If you're in, how do you explain the stars? So if I go out tonight and I take a picture of the stars, right? They're
Yep.
going to be the same as they will be when I'm 40 or when I'm
Yep.
50.
Yep.
How do you explain that if I go south of the equator, there are going to be different stars there than we are here? So what is your explanation on that?
I think you're gonna understand this explanation. You know why? Because it's super easy and your brain
Mhm.
isn't cemented into nonsense. I believe you have a pliable brain that is capable of accepting new information. So let's put ourselves in an empty room, 10-foot high
Mhm.
ceilings, and it's got recessed lights. It's got lights and they're in all random patterns. And you and I are hanging out. I go, look, that kind of looks like a buffalo. Yeah, I could see that. Oh, that looks like a starfish. Yep, I could see that. And we're using our imagination to draw some patterns in the lights. Now let's expand that room
Mhm.
to the size of a city, 10 miles wide, let's say. Okay. And I say, go for a walk, right? Have you ever been to Las Vegas? Maybe not.
I have not, no.
Okay, they have giant hotels there. The Bellagio, the whole hotel is so long that from one end of the hall, the other end looks like the ceiling is touching the floor. That's just perspective, right? That's just in
Mhm.
the hotel, right? So you're walking 2, 3, 4 miles away. You're 4 miles from me. I can't see you after a half a mile because you've got too small, right? So
Mhm.
I yell, you can't hear me because I can't yell 4 miles. So I call you on your cell phone
Mhm.
and I say, Fayth, look up at the lights. Do you see the starfish? Do you see the buffalo? Do you see those shapes we're making? You're like, no, no, I see completely different lights. You're looking at the lights that you're below. I can't see them because they're
Okay.
too far away.
Mhm.
Now,
That makes
if we live
sense.
right, that makes sense. So think about
Yeah.
this. Polaris is, right over the North Pole, right? And so everybody in the upper part of the world, the northern part on the globe, can see it. That makes sense. It also makes sense on a flat Earth, right? If it's at 0 degrees latitude, once you're beyond the equator on the ball, there's no way you can see Polaris because there's a physical obstruction. It's too low on the horizon. But Polaris has been spotted as far as 30 degrees south. That's impossible on a ball. Impossible. And it's the only star that's stationary. Right? With all of this going on, Polaris never moves. Polaris never moves. It's lined up perfectly, right? That doesn't make
Mhm.
sense. You can't figure it out because it's stupid. You're not stupid. All right.
Mhm.
Okay. And by the way, from here to here is 186 million miles. Just so you understand, it's insanity. This isn't even to scale anyway. There's no way to show it to scale. Um, so are you familiar with the Georgia Guidestones?
I am not, no.
So in Georgia, not too far from you, there was this monument of these stones with the 10 Commandments on it, basically for the New World Order. That's a whole nother topic. But the center stone had a little hole in it. And you look through it, there's Polaris there every day, every year, never changes, period. How can that
Mhm.
be? How can that line up there? And then they also say, well, Polaris is so far away that even though we're moving 4.4 billion years for hundreds and thousands of years, it never moves. Well, and the other way, hold on. The Great Pyramid of Giza has a shaft that points at Polaris. And we say, well, that was built a long time ago. How's it still pointing at Polaris? And the Globers say, oh, it was pointed towards Thuban, a different North Star. But because we're wobbling, our North Star is our axis is wobbling. It points towards Polaris now, and in a couple thousand years, it'll point towards something else. No proof, right? So the Georgia Guidestones were built in 1981. They say the precession of the equinox, I don't know if you're familiar with that, is the wobbling of the earth. And it takes 26,000 years for a full wobble. And that means it's moving 1 degree every 76 years. 1 degree in the sky is 3 wisps of a full moon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It was built in 1981. It was up for over 40 years. That means it's moved a half a degree. A half degree is 1.5 moon lengths. That star would have been out of there. We went there. We checked it out. It's still there. We started pointing it out. Videos started going viral. Right away, bam, a terrorist blew up the Georgia Guidestones, and the entire thing was bulldozed within a couple of hours and taken away before any investigation.
Convenient.
Suspicious, right? There's a conspiracy
Yes.
for you.
Yeah. Okay, so I know that you've talked about some of the things that you've seen that prove more towards this fact that we are a stationary planet that is flat. But are there any specific experiments or observations more than what we've talked about that you personally conducted supporting this?
Well, I did, I've zoomed in on many things, but these experiments actually, they take a lot of resources and time and stuff to do. And we had one of our guys did this experiment. So it did it at night, cold on a frozen lake. So it's freezing, right? You got to remember that. And so he's out there. He's got his snowmobile. He's got his camera set up 6 inches off the ice, right? And he set up these 4 lights at 8 miles, 7 miles, 6 miles, and 5 miles. At that height, according to globe math, there should be 30 feet of curvature. This one should be hidden, remember? Hidden behind curvature, 30 feet, 22 feet, 15 feet, and 9 feet. But they all magically show up right on the horizon, right there in a straight line. They're all refracting up at their own amounts, right? That is what I call impossible.
I mean, it makes sense. You could see all four clearly.
Yeah,
very,
they're all
clearly.
they're all there, and then there's countless. On my app, I don't know if you're interested in researching flat Earth, check out my app. It's at flatearthdave.com. But there's the web button right here. The web button brings up this page with tons of stuff, and if we scroll down, let that load for a second. There's flat Earth facts. These are experiments that have been done for you. Watch the experiment. Don't believe anything. Go do it yourself. We'll show you how to do it. We show you what we did. We show you we show you everything. You don't really need to go do it for yourself because we showed you. We don't just go, oh yeah, we measured that and it matches with the globe. No, you need to see it. So this section alone will blow your mind. And tons of stuff. But again, the censorship, you Google flat Earth, you're going to find nonsense. You're going to laugh. You're going to basically just say, oh, flat Earth is stupid because they don't want you seeing it. Check your YouTube history. Watch a couple of my flat Earth videos from my channel, DITRH, and then go search your history for flat Earth. They don't show up. And propaganda videos will show up.
Few.
Okay.
Yeah, I've gone through and watched a few, especially interviews that you've been on. That's why I contacted you, actually, because I was very interested in being able to ask my own questions.
Fayth, this will change your life. You're a young girl, right? If you get your mind wrapped around this, you're going to have an advantage over all of the other automaton NPCs that are roaming this realm, thinking they're on a ball flying through space. It actually frees your mind and lets you take your power back, right? This is
Mhm.
it's like, what difference does it make? I still have to go to school on Monday, right? Right? What difference does it make? I
Mhm.
still have homework to. Yeah, it makes all the difference in the world. I mean, I used to say I still have to go to work on Monday. I don't even know what day it is because I don't have to go to work on Monday, right? And life will. You want to hear the biggest conspiracy? This realm is conspiring to give you everything that you think. That's why they're trying to control your mind. The govern is to control, the ment is the mind, right? They're controlling your thoughts because your thoughts create your reality, and they don't want you to know that.
I mean, reading through a lot of the stuff that I have, it definitely does open your mind to new ideas. And again, that's why I wanted to talk to you and multiple others that I have talked to that have definitely showed stuff that definitely makes your mind twist and think a little bit more than it did before about what we're giving it blank face.
On do you have my app or no? Not yet.
I do not. I will be
What
downloading it though to look more
what kind
into
of
it.
phone do you have?
iPhone.
You have an iPhone. So buy the app for $3. Send me a message, and I will activate the subscription for you, which is $11 a year, but I'll give it to you for free. Okay. And
Awesome.
that
Thank
way
you.
you can use the higher functions. But right here is the star button. Is these are featured content creators. These are guys, a lot of them on TikTok, X, and whatever. They've got great stuff. Subscribe to their channels, and just like when you're chilling, you got 10 minutes, just flip through. It will blow your mind. You'll be like, wow. And
Yeah.
as you learn this stuff, it literally lifts people up. There's people that are depressed. You know what depression is? When your soul
Yes, I do.
when your soul is trying to talk to your mind, and your mind is trapped in the television programming in the fake world, and your soul's like, no, look over here, and there's no communication, your soul gets depressed. Okay. And when you find flat earth, your soul's like supercharged, and you have all of this new wonderment, like you're a kid again. That's what school. Sorry, you're in school. It depends on, there's some good teachers. I actually just did a high school class. This guy was awesome, right? Dan. And I'm actually airing that tonight. Um, it literally lifts your soul. I've seen people come out of drug addiction, depression, boredom, and now, all the flat earthers. There's an eclectic group of flat earthers, that's for sure. But it's amazing how all, how everyone's just very interesting, and life is full of amazement. So go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're totally fine. um, all right. I just gotta figure out where we were. I'm sorry. Um, okay. What do you believe is the motivation behind the widespread acceptance of a spherical Earth model by scientists and government associations?
So the question is, the thing that people say, how can everybody be in on it? And they're not in on it. Most people don't know, but the higher ups, Obama, that he definitely knows. He mentioned the Flat Earth Society a half a dozen times in his speeches, and the Flat Earth Society is basically just going to make you discount flat Earth. It's about controlling your mind, right? So as a child, you're taught that the Earth is a ball, and you try taking a ball away from a baby, it doesn't work well. Try taking a ball away from a grown man, that doesn't work well either, because your whole foundation's built around that, right? So a lot of people understand how money motivates, but money isn't the motivation behind this. But money is huge. Flat Earth, I mean, Globe Earth is the biggest money laundering operation in the world. All the music industry, all the movie industry, all of it, all of the games, video games, all of it together doesn't equal space. Okay. So they're taking that money from you. Your tax dollars are going to NASA. They get $80 million a day. They've given you nothing. And if they ever develop something, they sell it to a corporation, and that corporation sells it to you with your own money. So money, that's one of them. And they're hiding more land. All resources, all wars are fought over power and resources and land. And what if they're hiding more land? What if they're hiding other places that we can go? They're limiting your thoughts. Remember I was saying your thoughts create your reality? If you live on a ball, remember the Truman Show? Did you watch the Truman Show?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Truman goes, I want to be explorer. And what did the teacher say? The teacher said, oh, and she pulls down the map. Everything's been discovered already, Truman. Well, when you're on a ball, everything's been discovered. Very little left. Okay. If the Earth is an extended plane, maybe 1,000 times bigger, maybe 100 trillion times bigger. Okay.
Mhm.
There is endless possibilities. But the thing is, we don't need to think what's outside the box, what's beyond Antarctica, um, to prove the Earth is flat. That's easy. But they're hiding our history. There used to be airships here, right? There used to be airships. You know about airships?
I believe so, somewhat.
Well, you heard about the Hindenburg, right? The Hindenburg was the
Yes.
one that crashed, and then they got rid of airships, right? So, airships. Let me see. Um, oh, I'm in the wrong one. I actually wanted to go to the images. So there used to be airships the size of cruise ships that hold thousands of people. Here we go. Airship. Here's one. Um, that cruised all around the world. But the problem with an airship is it doesn't need any energy to stay in the air and very little fuel. And so it could explore everywhere. Well, you're not allowed to explore Antarctica or the North Pole because if you did, you'd find out we don't live on a globe. So that's one thing. They're hiding our history. We think that we're at the peak of civilization. And the truth is, we're in the middle of the movie Idiocracy. The population used to be way smarter, way more advanced than we are now. And it's not aliens, it's us. We've been dumbed down. We're living in what I call a post-apocalyptic world. On the app, if you go to the homeschool page, which is the little button that has a home school on it, these guys right on the top here, they'll show you about our history. And it's amazing. Great stuff, right? To start watching those videos and you'll become so educated. It'll blow your mind. Crow 777 Radio has a podcast you should subscribe to and just listen to it. One episode a week, 2 hours. You'll be smarter than everyone else that graduates college and everything. So there you go. That's part of it. And then so they're hiding resources, they're hiding more land, they're hiding free energy. Imagine, I mean, you still have your parents helping you out. I assume you live at home in the summer, right?
Yes, yeah.
Nothing wrong with
No.
that. What if your parents didn't have to pay for electricity or gas or air conditioning? Right? You can crank your house up to any temperature you want in the winter, summer, in the car,
Life would
unlimited.
be a lot easier.
That would
Yeah.
free up a lot of things. And then you'd be like, I can create this. It needs a lot of power. So what? It's free. And I can make new things. The world would flourish with free energy. Nikola Tesla offered us free energy and JP Morgan shut him down because it would interfere with his, telegraph pole business, his copper wire business, his coal business, his oil business. It would put him out of business. So he shut him down when trying to give the world free energy. He actually did for a short time. And they're like, no, 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 unless we can build people, you can't do that. You can't do that.
Mhm.
So, when people say why the lie, I say, they're hiding free energy, they're hiding the creator, they're hiding your spirituality, they're hiding more land, they're hiding more resources, they're hiding scientific knowledge, hiding what's in Antarctica, that you are at the center of creation, and they're hiding that you're special. They want you to believe that you are an insignificant flea on a speck flying through an infinite universe.
I definitely agree with a lot of that, but I do think that it's the phrase of money makes the world go round. You know what I mean? Like,
Well,
if you can't
money's
make money.
yeah. Well, they make money. They don't need money. They just type numbers into a computer, right? That's called fiat
Mhm.
money. Turn your camera down a little bit. They create money. What is money? That's what got me into all of this, by the way. I was looking into what is money and where does it come from? And it's literally made up by a private bank that lends it to the United States at interest. So you can never pay it back because there's always more money needed than actually exists. So
Mhm.
so we're born into this God's creation as inheritors of this place equally. But then at birth, they literally register you to a corporation. Did you know that? It's called a birth certificate. So you're registered to a corporation, you're traded on the stock market, and you are living, and then you're taught that you live on this ball. Well, you've given up what God gave you, and you've accepted what the government gave you. So now you're playing on their ball field. Guess what? You got to play by their rules. And they're controlling us with money, their fake money. So the way to take our freedom back is to get off their globe, just unplug and say, I know the earth is flat. I'm not buying your nonsense anymore. and then start using our own money. Cryptocurrency. I don't know if you've looked into that, but crypto, privacy cryptos, that is a way to get around, using their money. And we don't need to take down the government. It's not about that. It's about creating our own world, and the governments will just dissolve because they'll have nothing. They're nothing without us, right? Let's say your movie, you're making a movie, right? Let's say
it's a short film.
Let's say Elon Musk accidentally tweets it, okay? Right? And it goes out and it goes super viral and billions of people watch it. All the governments in the world will fail because of your movie. Because once people unplug from the nonsensical BS matrix, all their power is gone. What difference does it make the shape of the earth? I still have to do whatever on Monday, right? It makes all the difference in the world because we are giving them power by playing on their ball fields.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. But to go off of this, we talked about it before with government and like basically going to space. What is your opinion on NASA, the moon landing, and other space exploration? How can you explain or debunk that?
Yeah, that's a big one. You got a little bit of time. Do you remember the space shuttle? Remember the space shuttle? Okay. So let's talk about aerodynamics for a second. Okay. So this is the front of an airplane, and this looks pretty aerodynamic, pretty slick for the wind to go right over, right? The airplanes go 500, 600, 700 miles an hour, depending, right? Okay. So now let's look at this plane. Whoops. This is the SR-71 Blackbird. Okay. It's black because it goes so fast that it heats up to like 500 degrees and the paint would burn off, so it's just black. And it's pretty aerodynamic, would you say? Pretty slick, right? That goes 2,300 miles per hour. By the way, 2,300 miles per hour, it would have to nose down 80 stories a second just to follow the curve of the earth. It would have to literally nose down 80 stories every second. What would that do to the pilot? It would be plastered.
G-forces,
Yeah, it would be crazy, right? And it can't turn at that speed. So this is the front of the space shuttle, right? The plane goes 600, 700 miles an hour. That goes 2,300 miles per hour. This goes 25,000 miles an hour. Does that look aerodynamic to you? Look at those inset windows. Look at those inset windows. All right. Look at the holes in the panels. It's insanity, right? This entire thing goes 25,000 miles an hour. And down here, the space shuttles look at this PVC with these square brackets and all of this non-aerodynamic. Like, take this little PVC pipe and stick that on that 747, that airplane. With that doesn't look like a good idea. The turbulence, 25,000 miles an hour. Right?
Yeah.
This is a balloon. This is filled with helium. That's how it goes. What do I mean by that? On the app, there's a section called Rockets Are Balloons. That one will show you how they fake the moon landing, everything, right? So this is do you remember the Challenger disaster?
Yes, I do.
It blew up, right? Teacher was on there, Krista McCullough. This is the first time they wheeled. Were you in school? That might have been before your time. They wheeled. I think
it was before me.
Yeah, they wheeled televisions and all the kids watched it live when it blew up. It was crazy. The funny thing is, 6 of the 7 astronauts are still alive using the same names, working in corporations and universities. They all claim, or 3 of them claim, to have identical twins that there's no birth record of. And none of them showed up at their siblings' funeral to talk. They're still alive, anyone that does the research. But the lie's so big that a lot of people just can't face it because the emotions get to them. Emotions get to them. This thing weighs 4 million pounds, right? This is the external tank, the solid rocket boosters, and here's the shuttle, right? I don't know if you can tell, but it's blowing around in the wind like a bouncy house. It's moving in the wind. Maybe this one will show it better.
No, you can definitely see it moving.
Yeah, look, it's blowing around in the wind. That's 4.5 million pounds. 4.5 million pounds, right? And they tell us when it ejects the tank, the solid rocket booster falls back to Earth. Look at this thing. Is that falling back to Earth so fast that it's going to deatomize? That's 20,000 pounds empty of steel. And it's going to burn up. It's because it's going to fall so fast, it's going to burn up. Does that look like it's falling or floating? And watch right here.
Yeah.
You're going to see a tissue in 5 seconds go by. Watch a piece of tissue. Ready? Here it comes. See it? That shows you that it's just floating in the air. And here's that PVC pipe, right? But here's the worst part. Guess who's filming this? It would seem like, well, a skydiver is filming it, or that would make a little more sense because it's falling, right? The guys in the shuttle that are on their way to space at 25,000 miles an hour in the opposite direction are filming it out the window. The reason you can't figure that out is because
it's floating.
It's stupid.
It's not.
It's stupid. The whole premise is stupid. That's what I'm saying, right? And here's the interesting one. Here it is. So this is the guys. Watch, he'll move the camera to show you. Oh, look, the curve of the Earth, and he's filming it from the window, right? And that thing's It's falling. You can't hear the sound. It's falling so fast that that it would be out of sight in seconds. But we're watching it. And all of a sudden, we saw something on the right side. Watch, 3, 2, 1. Watch right here. See that? What was that? We're like, what was that? So we took that clip, we slowed it down. Kind of looks like some sort of quadcopter or something, some sort of, cloaked plane. I turn it sideways. Let me crank up the contrast. And there it is. That might be some sort of blimp recovery vehicle. And it accidentally got filmed. There's no explanation that they have. This is just showing that they are screwing around with everything. And so, like, okay, well, that's interesting. What about the International Space Station? You ever watch stuff on the International Space Station?
When I was younger, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's a good answer. What does this tell you? What does this tell you? The fact that he just faded in like that. What does that tell you?
I mean, it could be a green screen.
That they're using green screens, they're using layered stuff, right? He just fades in. Right? And then this guy, something happens, and they're using camera trickery. They're using camera trickery, right? Here's a fun one. This was in 1999. They all had Christmas hats on. Isn't that cool? Look at the pom-poms on their hats. In 2023, they're going up because there's no gravity, but in 2022 or 1999, there's gravity. So they must have a gravity on-off switch. Maybe, right? And then if we look at this is they always like have celebrities and presidents. So Kamala Harris is talking to the guys on the space shuttle, and they're always playing with something. So he's always playing with this wire, this cord, right? So look what happens. It goes right through his hand. Watch again. It's going to go right through his hand. Watch. Boom. Through his hand. What does that tell you? That it's fake. If they're faking this, they're faking everything. They're always flipping things around. You know what they do in the space shuttle? They do science. They have little kids asking pre-written questions. What are you doing? Well, we're doing science. Oh, yeah. Science and experiments. Those are just words. Like, what science? Yeah. They're growing lettuce for the 57th time. Okay. Right? They discovered water on the moon 900 times, or on Mars. Right? And some of the stuff they show you doesn't hold up over time. This is they're going to the space station. This is the space shuttle docked to the station, and this is supposedly station. Look at this little stupid model. It's inside the window frame. How is that possible? Right? If you went to a movie, you'd ask for your money back if they showed you a space movie that showed you this. But this is their live feed. Right? Do you wear makeup?
Some.
A little bit, right? Let me ask you a question. Is this woman wearing makeup? She has makeup caked on. She has caked on makeup. And is she having a good hair day? She's having a good hair day. She is having a good, come on, that's a good hair day, right? In space, they have to work out 2 hours a day, sweating their butts off, and they only get one washcloth a week and one shirt a week. Who's putting her makeup on? Who's doing her hair? Let me show you one more because we can say that we can spend hours on this, but they're very excited when the Soyuz comes up with new stuff because sometimes they get some fresh fruit. They don't have to eat out of bags. There's a lemon they're playing with, and they went to grab it, and something's wrong. Let me zoom in a little bit. Look at the lemon. It's all CGI. It's all fake. It's not a real thing. They're manipulating. It's called, what is it called? That's spacing on the word. It's called augmented reality.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If they're faking that, they're faking everything. Here's a shot of them talking about stuff. Watch under his arm here. He's having a little reaction, his hand doubles there. But watch his arm, and he reveals the green screen right there. There it is. I have a green screen behind me. Nothing's happening here. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So again, if they're faking that, they're faking everything.
Yeah.
Okay, what else?
So my last question is, how do you explain things such as gravity, the eclipse that just happened recently, cross-world ocean sailing? Like, there was this woman who just sailed. She started at one point, went around the world, and then came back to that same point. And plane routes where if you go from, say, Virginia or New York to Florida, the way that the plane route has to go in order to account for the curvature.
Well, there is zero accounting for curvature. Let's talk about circumnavigation first, and then I'll show you how the sailboats work and the plane routes, which are going to turn you into a flat earther instantly. Here's a magnet, and I got a compass, and the needle's pointing north. So I'm trying to push this compass west, and I have to keep turning it to the right to maintain a westerly heading because that needle always has to point towards the North Pole. So I just left here. I went around, not changing my heading, and I came right back to where I wanted. Now I'm going to go east. East is this way on the compass. Remember, that needle always has to point towards the center to head east. So I'm heading 90 degrees east, and it brings me right back to where I wanted, where I started. Now, if I want to go west, and I say, okay, I'm going to go west, I'm going to dead reckon west. I got a line, and I'm not going to look at my compass. As soon as I start moving, I'm heading south. South is every direction away from the center. This is south. That is south. That is south. South is when you have your back to the North Pole. Get a compass, move it around. You'll see how it works. Now, if the Earth was a globe, I can go south and pop up over here. I can go south from Santiago and end up in Australia. Nobody has ever done that. Nobody has ever done that. Okay. So there's a boat race called the Antarctic, what is it called? Antarctic boat race, whatever. They go around Antarctica. They tell us, Antarctica is a continent at the bottom of a ball. It's 13,000 miles around. They're going a little, they don't even see Antarctica because they're farther north. So they're making a bigger circle. It's supposed to be, I don't know, it's not supposed to be more than going around the equator, which is 24,900 miles. These boats are the fastest sailboats in the world. They go 20, 25 miles an hour. Easy, right? So there was a leg of their race that went from South Africa around Antarctica and over to Sao Paulo or Italia, Brazil. Okay. And they, on their website, it said that leg is 32,000 miles. The circumference of the ball is less than 25,000 miles. How did this little trip right here equal 32? And then from here, where they went over the rest of it, how did that was another 10,000 miles, right? That's like going around the world twice. Right? So on their own website. And here's the thing. In the South, all the sailing distance records are made in the north because GPS, you're actually going that distance. But in the south, you might be going 300 miles and it says, oh, you only went 100 miles because it's spread out in the south. And so when we look at that and when we look at maps and everything, it all shows that the south is stretched out. Oh, and when these sailors are done, they look at what GPS says they went. They took a look how long they went, and they divide it out, and the boats are averaging like 4 miles per hour. 4 miles per hour, right? That's like a walking pace, right? 4 miles per hour. That's impossible. They're traveling much greater distances, and many of the several of the captains of those boats have spoken out that the Earth is flat, and they're lying about the distances. So that answers your circumnavigation question. And the sailing question, and the other one was gravity, right?
Yes, gravity.
Yeah, gravity is the key to the heliocentric system. And flat earthers are crazy because we think down is down for everybody, right? We think down is down for everybody. But globers are not crazy because they think people are standing antipodal to each other on opposite sides of the earth, right? While it's spinning, right? If the earth was spinning, right? Let's say this is the equator right across the middle here. Wouldn't this guy kind of feel a force pushing him over, right? When he spin, he's gonna be pushed over, but no one feels any force like that. This guy's moving 1,000 miles an hour. This guy's moving 500 miles an hour. And this guy's spinning around like a ballerina, not moving any miles per hour. Okay, it's stupid. It's stupid, right? So gravity. How strong is gravity? Well, gravity can take this balloon, and it's making it flop down instead of flop up. There's no air in it, really, just a little bit of ambient air, right? Now, if I blow the balloon up, what's that air trying to do? It's trying to get out in every direction, up, down, left, and right, right? It's trying to get out. If I put a hole in the top, it's going to rush right out the top to equalize instantly. Gravity's not going to hold it in the balloon. So what is going on with gravity? So Walter Lewin at MIT, one of the best professors out there, says the electric forces that hold our world together. Okay, what does that mean? Everything has electrostatic charge. Everything, testable, measurable, scientifically provable, repeatable, observable. Okay, so you've experimented with electrostatics. If you charge your hair up, it'll point up, and you can stick a balloon to the wall. And in gravity, let me ask you a question. You got storm clouds up there with millions of tons of water. Why doesn't gravity pull it down? Because it's heavier than the air. And the answer is it's electrostatics that hold things up and make things go down. It's buoyancy and density that sort everything else out, right? This is a airship. It's less buoyant. It's more buoyant than the air. This boat is more buoyant than the water, and this submarine is more dense than the water. So everything sorts itself out. But why don't things go sideways or up? Why down? What's determining the down, right? And the answer is the Earth has a negative charge. The sky has a positive charge, and everything above the earth is in that positive field. What happens with a negative and a positive? They come together, right? Negative and positives attract, negatives repel, and positives repel, right? So if the earth is not moving, it has a negative charge. Anything above it is attracted to it. So how can we test this, right? So here is, we had some leftover party balloons, helium. And we tied them. There's a button on here, and it's just a couple inches above the floor. And this wire is going to a Van de Graaff generator, and we're going to make it have a stronger positive charge. So we add the positive charge. It goes down. Do we make it heavier, or do we make it just more attracted to the negatively charged Earth? And when we discharge it, it goes back up. Do we make it heavier? Are we messing around with gravity, or are we messing around with electrostatics? Here's one. This is a tinfoil triangle. We're going to put a negative charge into it. It goes up, turn it off, goes down, turn it back on, keep it on, it goes up. Negative, pushing away from a negative. Have you ever seen when big lightning bolt strikes next to somebody, they go flying in the air? Have you ever seen that?
I think in videos
yeah.
and stuff, like on
So
TikTok
that's because it changes the polarity of the Earth for a split second, strong enough to send things flying. right? So that's testable, right? One more thing. This is from MIT. It's called the Silent Drone, and it has no moving parts, and it flies. Now they say, well, it's because of the ionic wind. They have no explanation because they believe in gravity. So they're imagining that it's making an ionic wind that you can't feel, that's lifting it, that has no thrust that we can feel, but it's making it lift. It's flying because it's negatively charged. They were able to make it work and it flies. All right. So here's the question now. Let's pretend gravity is real. The science says that the electrostatic charge is 10, ready for this? To the 39th power stronger than gravity. 10 to, that's 10 with 39 zeros.
Mm-hmm.
So let's think how big that is. That is super that is unbelievable. If I was over there right now and I punched you, if I just gave you a little punch like that, you'd be like, ow. Right? If I punch you 100 times harder, you'd probably have a massive bruise, right?
Yeah.
You're pissed. 1,000 times harder, I'd probably break your back, right? 100,000 times harder, you're dead. 1,000,000 times harder, I'll send you through the floor, right? A billion times harder, right? You might explode like a bomb, right? A trillion times harder, I can't even fathom what that would be, right? It would make a sound that would probably be heard for hundreds of miles, right? That's 10 with 12 zeros. That's one with 12 zeros. So
it's an insane difference.
So 1,000 times that, and then take that number, 1,000 times that, that's only 18 zeros. We got to get to 36. So what is that telling us? Gravity is non-existent. The electrostatic force that we can measure, test, experiment, observe, repeat, science, is that much stronger than the hypothetical theory of gravity. Gravity is 96% wrong. They're like, you know what? Our gravitational model isn't working. There's 96% of the matter that we need to make it work. It doesn't exist. Oh, you know what we can say? Dark matter, dark energy. No one's ever seen it. No one's ever measured it, but it has to be there because if it's not, our gravity theory is wrong. Therefore, it has to be there. How stupid is that? If you gave me $100, I said, I'll pay you back at the end of the interview. And I gave you $4 at the end of the interview. And I said, we're even. And you said, where's the rest of my money? I go, oh, they're dark dollars. Don't worry about it. They're dark dollars. Okay.
Yeah.
They're dark dollars. So there's a story on gravity. Again, on the app, again, this is something that you have to research this forever, but on the app and the frequently asked questions, there's the gravity section right here. Great videos, all being hidden from you, censored from you. Right? You're going into a world. You're graduating.
I'll definitely have to download it.
Yeah, you're graduating, and then make sure you email me. I'll give you a code to unlock the subscription. All right. All right. Okay. And you're going into a world that, from a person who believes in the globe, if you knew all of this stuff, it's really friggin' scary and depressing. But if you understand how this world works, it's really exciting. It's amazing. Okay. It's super amazing. Right. These are all the flat earthers near me. Right. These are just the people that have the app that are on the friend finder. And let's take a look where you are. If I could find Virginia. Virginia's down here, right? Whoops. Let me just zoom in.
Yeah. Right about there.
Yeah. So there's a lot of people that are researching this, right? And I'd say these dots represent 1% or less than 1% of the people that know the earth is flat. How about that?
Yeah, it's definitely eye-opening and intriguing to learn more about. And I'm very excited to dive a little bit deeper, especially with some of the information I can get from this app that, like, I didn't even know it was there. I saw it on your website and I didn't know that it did all this.
Scroll down. Oh, the app does a ton more. It does a ton. So that's the friend finder. It the images. So let's say, you know, you can search anything. If you want to search NASA founders, the moon landing, whatever, all the images. And people love
Mhm.
memes. Flat earthers meme well, Globers don't meme well. Right? There's all sorts of stuff, and you could watch the time lapse. You can turn on the time zones. You can turn on the stars and see how it all works. It's a great, great, great teaching tool. But I tell you, every day,
Yeah.
just while you're having your breakfast, watch the daily video. Just click that, watch the daily video, and you can go to the
Okay.
archive for all the ones you missed, and that'll just keep you busy forever. That'll keep you busy forever. But you watch Netflix, you like watching movies. We all like, come on.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah,
When I
sometimes.
have time.
Yeah, yeah.
When I
So
have time.
on the app, but also on my website, if you go down to the crash course, it's the same. This is the same list that's here, FE movies, and there's great documentaries. They're actually fascinating. They're awesome. Just start watching those, and your friends will start watching them. That way, you won't be lonely and lose all your friends. You're gonna lose some of them though, but they're gonna come back. Okay, they're gonna come back. And watch those. Just like turn off Netflix. Go to the crash course, pop it up on YouTube, get it on your TV, and watch it. And it will change your life.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to take a look at it. But
Okay.
I if there's nothing else that you think that you want to add, I don't have any more questions.
I mean, there's a ton of stuff. You know, it's just high pressure next to low pressure can't exist. It can't exist. There's no experiment that you can do to show it. The belief in gravity is nonsense. We can see too far. There are no globe proofs. I offer 3 Bitcoins for anybody that watches the daily video for 2 weeks and after that sends me a globe proof. You win 3 Bitcoins. That's $210,000. Okay. And that would be nice, but I have no fear that someone's going to win it because the Earth is not a globe. What is this place? To be found out. But you know, my personal belief is that there's other lands, other worlds beyond Antarctica, and that they're hiding that from us. And there's evidence that there's trade routes that they send boats in and out of these outer worlds and get technology and food or whatever. Maybe they're, you know, who knows what they're trading in and out of there. But again, this we want, you know, the right to go explore. We want airships back, and you'll never be bored once you go down this rabbit hole. So,
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you so much. This was a lot of information that I can't wait to work through and put in. I can send you the link once I'm done. I present on Wednesday of next week. So I'll have everything finalized done by Tuesday.
all right.
So I'll have all of the interviews compiled and I can send you the link if you would like.
Yeah, I would love it. I'd love to see it. Are you going to put video in
Um,
there or pictures? What are you putting in there? Lots of anything?
Yeah, so you are my fifth interview that I've done.
Okay.
So I'll compile everything and I have a script that I'm going off of.
Okay.
And I'm basically just going over the history and then going into each of the interviews. And I talked to a history professor who knew some of the history about it. And then I talked to a physics professor. I talked to someone from the Good People Society in the UK.
I don't know
And
them.
then yeah, and then now you. So I guess it's only four. I
Okay.
think there was one more. But I'm gonna have everything put together, throw it into a kind of documentary style. So I'll have B-roll, I'll have stand-up of me talking about facts that I know, information that I've researched. I've been working on this project this entire semester, so it's been almost 4 months.
Awesome. There's a book section for people that love books, kids books, adult books, more land, biblical, flat earth. There's tons and tons and tons of stuff. And flat earth isn't just a new thing. It's not just a conspiracy theory. It
Yeah.
is where we live. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Nobody goes flat and goes back.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm definitely gonna have to look into all of this because it looks very interesting. I will make sure to download the app once I get back into my apartment. Hopefully I can
Okay.
get back in.
All right. Thank
But
you.
are you gonna email me the link or
I'll email you. I have your
how
email
do
address. I'll edit it. I'll just, you know, lay it out nice and I'll send you the link and you're good to go. I'll send it to you.
awesome.
I'll get it to you tonight.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. It was so great getting to meet you and so great getting to talk to you. I really appreciate you meeting with me.
All right, thanks. Don't forget to send me the link. I want to see your project. I might
Yes,
feature
I
it.
will, I
It might be a
promise.
featured video on the app if you do a good job. Okay.
All right.
All right.
I'll definitely make sure to send it to you.
All right. Thanks. See ya.
All right. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.